In the previous video, we created event frames using the event frame generator. Now, let's talk about how to add attributes information in the event frames. We want the mixing tank unit procedure event frame to have the information related to the pH of the tank. We have two options to accomplish this. Option 1 is adding an attribute as a PIEFGen reference. In order to use this method, you need to make sure that the event frame template has allow extensions enabled. And then we can add an attribute and assign it to a PIEFGen. The attribute will show the value at the evaluation time, and by default, the evaluation time is the start time of the event frame. If needed, you can configure the delay option to adjust the evaluation time, for instance, end of the event. Keep in mind that this option will affect all of the PIEFGen data references configured in this template level, such as procedure, batch ID, and product. Option 2 is assigning a primary reference element. The primary reference element is the main element referenced by the event frame. First, we'll assign a primary reference element which contains a pH attribute from the event frame interface manager. Then we'll create attributes in the event frame template and use the following syntax to get the value of a pH from the primary reference element. By using this method, we can configure when each attribute to be evaluated and even do simple calculations like maximum and average. In this video, we'll create 3 attributes using this method to get the maximum pH value over the event frame time range, pH value at the end time, start time of the event frame. Now, let's walk through both options together. Before we start, I want to check the current event frames using the PySystem Explorer. Let's do new search to find the event frames for this AF database. Since I don't want to see the child event frames in this search panel, I'll uncheck this button and click search. Our current mixing tank 1 event frame has some basic information about a batch. Now, we want to add information related to the pH of the tank. Let's start with option 1, adding an attribute as a PIEFGen reference. First, we need to enable allow extensions to allow creating attributes on the template. Let's confirm the event frame template name from General tab. And the name is a unit procedure _ mixer. And find the template under event frame template list. Check the allow extensions and we'll check in. We'll now go to Event Frame Interface Manager. Go to Event Frames Structure and navigate to Mixer 1. Like we did for other attributes, we'll add pH attribute and map it to the PIEFGen. And let's hit save. Before restarting the interface, we'll apply the second option as well. First, let's check the element that we want to reference. Let's go back to PySystem Explorer, Element. PH attribute is in mixer 1 element, and this element is what we want to reference. A primary referenced element is configured in Event Frame Interface Manager, Reference Elements tab. Now we'll add element here. Since I know the element name, I will just search for mixer 1 and check search sub-element. Since we are working on line 1, I'll click this and click OK and hit save. After assigning a primary reference element, we'll now create some attributes on the event frame template. First attribute is maximum pH. Click Settings. We'll use this syntax to get the value of pH from the primary reference element. In order to get the maximum pH value during the event frame time range, we choose a maximum for the value retrieval mode. Depending on your attribute types, you can use other options. For instance, you can use an average or total for a flow rate. pH at N. We'll use the same syntax. End time is the default value retrieval mode, so we don't need to change anything for this one. The last one is pH at start. And we'll choose start time for the retrieval method and click OK. And now we'll check in. Let's go back to the Event Frame Interface Manager and restart the interface. We see the new attributes are added in the event frame. pH attribute is created from the first option, adding an attribute as a PyPoint data reference. The timestamp is the start time of the event frame by default. Other three attributes are created from the second option, configuring a primary reference element. The maximum pH is showing the maximum value during the event frame time range. pH at start and end show the values at start time and end time of the event frames. If we click the Mixer 2, we see some errors. This error is showing because we added attributes in the template level, but never assigned the primary reference element for Mixer 2. In order to fix the issue, we'll need to assign a primary reference element for Mixer 2 in the Event Frame Interface Manager. We'll save and restart the interface one more time. Now we see those attribute values are updated correctly in Mixer 2 as well.